Hey, thanks for clicking on my video. Seb Heslo here. And if you're wondering, hey Seb, what is the best way to build a mining rig anyways? Then I guess I'll reply by, it's the Misfit Mining GPU hangers in a wire rack, of course. So link in the description for those. However, if you, like me, don't live in the US, then I guess you're gonna have to go with the second best thing, which is to build one of these. Do you see them there, behind me? DIY, mining rig frames. And that's what I'm gonna show you how to do in this video. Now, I will show you every step of the process in this video here. However, if you do want a really detailed step-by-step PDF guide with 3D rendered blueprints as well as really detailed descriptions of every step of the way, I do have that for sale down in the description below. It's $3.99 and I worked really hard on making this for you guys. So I hope you'll agree that at $3.99 you're really getting value for your money. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's talk about these mining frames. So as you can see here, I've got two of these. So I got one here already set up with 9 GPUs and that's mining away beautifully. And then I have this one that I just built for this video to show you guys how to build it, right? But something I just need to tell you guys before we get started is that these two are actually a slight different design. So this was the first one I built, and as I built this and I put it together, I kind of came up with a lot of improvements to the design, and that is what this one is, and that is what you'll see in the PDF guide that I have linked down below in the description. But so the only thing is, this one is actually a lot easier to build than this one. Well, not a lot easier, but it's easier to build than this one. However, this one has a much more clever design to it. It's a lot better basically, and I'll show you one example of that, right? So with this one, for example, they fit the same amount of GPUs and everything, but with this one here, you kind of have to mount the fans on the outside like this. And as you can see here, like the fans, they end kind of here, but as you can see, the GPUs are a bit higher than that. So that's why, and also you don't have to mount the fans with zip ties. That's just me being lazy. You can screw them in properly, but they will kind of still have to be on the outside of the frame like this, and they won't line up perfectly height-wise with your GPUs. So that is what the improvements are to this frame here. However, it does come at the cost a little bit of, it is a little bit harder to build this one, but not that much. And you'll see how to build it in this video, and I guess you're gonna have to make the call yourself if this is too difficult, because I will have another guide coming out soon on how to build this one instead, which is a little bit easier, but not as good, But not only that, and this will be a teaser for an upcoming video here on the channel, but this new design can actually fit up to 36 fans in it for cooling your mining rig. So check this out, guys. We bought all of these fans. So if you're counting, that's 5 packs of fans. But that wasn't enough. We still needed to buy one additional fan as well. And as you can see here, we got 3 10-port fan hubs, which isn't enough either. We're waiting on one more to come before we can put together that rig. So those are all gonna go in this mining rig frame. So you can subscribe to see that. That will come probably sometime next week. But of course, what is so cool about this is you don't need to put either none or 36 fans in. You can put in just as many as you want, up to 36, right? And that is the whole point of this, like DIY mining rig frames, right? Like you make them sort of to the spec that you need. So if you need to put just 4 fans in for cooling, good, put 4 fans in. If you need 8, put 8 in, and so on, up to all the way up to 36 fans, which is what this mining rig is capable of. All right, I know that's enough babbling about fans. It's time-lapse and voiceover time. Hey, so voiceover Seb here, and the first thing I recommend is just make yourself a little wedge like this one here to put at the corner of your workbench. It's just gonna really help screwing the aluminium pieces together. So the very first thing you need is 20 by 20 aluminium angle, and you need 10 pieces of 40 centimeter and 10 pieces of 60 centimeters. So you also need a 40 by 60 piece of plywood. I'm just screwing the aluminium angle onto the piece of plywood here. So one 40 centimeter piece on the short end and one 60 centimeter piece on each long end. You need self-tapping screws for this. Those are screws that basically drill their own holes, so you just drill them in and they screw in as they go. And then what you gotta do is you gotta make yourself 2 riser shelves. So I'm grabbing 2 40 centimeter pieces of aluminum angle, and I'm just measuring where the riser shelf itself needs to go. So the riser shelf is a 60 centimeter long just piece of wood here. And then just screwing that onto the 2 40 centimeter aluminum angle pieces. And then what you gotta do is you gotta make the GPU shelves. So you do that by screwing a 60 centimeter aluminum angle piece onto 2 40 centimeter aluminum angle pieces. The GPU shelf needs to be 3 centimeters in on the 40 centimeter pieces. I don't know how helpful it is just spitting numbers at you guys, but hopefully you can tell from the video what I'm doing here. So right now I'm just attaching the riser shelf on the other side, like to the 40 centimeter aluminum angle piece for the other side. So you got a 60 centimeter wood piece that's attached onto 2 40 centimeter aluminum angle pieces, one on each side. And just screwing in the second one there. Right, and what I'm doing here now is I'm screwing the GPU shelf onto the other short side, like 40 centimeter aluminum angle piece. So at the end of this step you should have the bottom plate that you made in the first step, as well as 2 riser shelves, which is one 60 centimeter just wooden plank screwed onto 2 40 centimeter aluminum angle pieces, one on each side, as well as 2 GPU shelves, which is a 60 centimeter aluminum angle piece screwed onto 2 40 centimeter aluminum angle pieces, one on each side. So what I'm doing now is I'm making the long sides of the rig frame, which is just screwing 3 60 centimeter aluminum angle pieces together into a little soccer goal type shape there. A U shape, I guess, is what normal people would call it. So you just make yourself 2 of those. And then once that's done, it is just a matter of building all these pieces together with each other. So you need to start from the top. So start by screwing the top GPU shelf onto one of your sides, like I did there, and then screw it onto the other side. So you should then have you should have your top GPU shelf screwed onto your two sides like I have here. You then slot your first riser shelf onto the whole frame like this, and you screw that in like I'm doing here, on one side first and on the other side secondly. And then what you do is you basically just repeat that process one more time. So there's the second GPU shelf, and screw that in. And on the other side as well, like I'm doing here. And finally, the second riser shelf. And now you just have to slot that whole thing onto your bottom plate. Put that on its side, and then just screw the actual frame onto the bottom plate on each side like this. You can also screw in some rubber feet if you need to. And then basically what I'm doing here is sort of the last step is I put a GPU on a riser, and I'm just putting it like to the extreme edges, and I'm marking where like the hole should go for the mounting screws. Then I'm measuring the distance between those, and then you just got to do some math like you could see I was doing there to calculate how far apart the holes should be for each GPU. And for putting 7 GPUs on each shelf, basically what you need to do is just take the number of GPUs you want, so in my case that's 7, and reduce that by 1, so that's 6, and then just measure the distance between those far 2 holes that you marked and divide it by 6, and that will give you the distance you need between each hole. And so now I'm just screwing a self-tapping screw into each of these marked spots for where GPU needs to go. And there you can see, mounted a GPU as I tried out. And finally what we're doing here is you just place your motherboard wherever you want it on your frame, and you mark with a pencil through all the mounting holes of your motherboard with a pencil onto the bottom plate, and then just drill holes there. And then what we did was we cut up 1 centimeter long pieces of just like tiny PVC pipe, and we just put one of those on each of these pre-drilled holes. We mounted the motherboard on top, and then just screwed that in using wood screws. And I picked a really long clip for that apparently. But the final step is just to place your power supply like I'm doing here, and you can just mark where the mounting screw holes on your PSU is, and you can drill holes in the frame and screw your PSU in as well. And finally, I just want to mention that of course this is all done, you know, at your own risk. You know, you can't hold me responsible for any potential damage you might do. You know, it's done at your own risk. Okay guys, but that's it. You've now got a mining rig frame. Alright, so that is how you build yourself a 14 GPU mining rig frame. And if this video has been helpful to you, then why don't you give the video one of these? It really helps me out. And please stay tuned for upcoming videos. We got 2 exciting videos. The first one being when we put up to 36 fans in that mining rig and test out just how much cooling that provides for your GPUs. As well as another build guide for the easier to build one that you can see behind me here on the, I guess, is that right for you? I don't know, the thing is mirrored for me. Whatever. But what you gotta do now is you gotta click one of the videos that are on the screen. Because this video is over. You could also subscribe to the channel by clicking on my face. I'd really appreciate that. But yeah, click on one of the videos. Go on. Bye bye.